Black Crystal. Dear friends and viewers, in today's society, those who lack courage are suffering severe consequences. If you have never experienced the harsh realities of society, you might not understand the meaning of these things, and you might not agree. Today, I will talk about 8 typical behaviors of unsuccessful people, helping you recognize and change your mindset, develop awareness, and improve your life. Number 1. Shamelessness. A kind-hearted man caught a turtle and intended to eat it, but because he considered himself a good person, he placed a narrow plank over a pot of boiling water and said to the turtle, "Let fate decide. If you can crawl across this plank, I will let you go. If not, don't blame me for eating you today." The turtle endured the heat, struggled to crawl across the plank, and eventually succeeded. The kind-hearted man was amazed, picked up the turtle, and praised it. "This turtle is amazing, let's try again." Lies can be repeated, and shamelessness knows no bounds. In a psychology book, the author mentions that among 25 people, one has an antisocial personality disorder. These are people who completely lack a sense of conscience. Most of us feel remorse when we do wrong, or feel guilty when we unintentionally hurt others. But people with this disorder have no such feelings. They don't care about right or wrong, only about achieving their goals. Such people are often very calculating, good at acting, but extremely cold when it comes to emotions. They are willing to sacrifice any relationship to achieve their goals. But their outcomes are usually not good. In fact, there is a subtle difference between intelligence and wisdom. Intelligence looks at immediate benefits, while wisdom sees the whole picture and long-term value. Why do greedy people often have bad endings? There is a story about a mouse that fell into a jar of rice. At first, it was very scared, thinking it was a trap. But after a while, it realized it was a treasure trove. It began to enjoy a life of eating and sleeping. However, it didn't notice that the more it ate, the less rice remained in the jar, and the depth of the jar increased. At first, it could easily jump out, but when the rice was almost gone, it realized it couldn't escape anymore. Finally, the mouse died in the jar of rice. In life, many people pursue immediate benefits and lose long-term opportunities. My advice to you is never to be too greedy. What seems like abundant benefits might hide an abyss behind. The wise know when to stop, while the foolish are always greedy. There is another story. A beggar asked, "Can you give me $100? A passerby replied, "I only have $80. The beggar said, "Then you owe me $20. Some people always think that life owes them. They don't know gratitude, only focus on demanding. Such people usually lack benefactors and have little chance to change their lives. Number 3. Living based on others' opinions. In the past, a father and son led a donkey into the city. The father rode the donkey, while the son led it. A passerby criticized, "This father is so cruel, riding the donkey while his son walks." The father felt guilty and let his son ride the donkey. Then someone else said, "This son is so unfilial, letting his father walk while he rides the donkey comfortably." Hearing this, the son felt ashamed, and both decided to ride the donkey together. But someone else said, "This father and son are too much. How can a donkey bear the weight of 2 people?" Finally, both got off the donkey and walked. But they were mocked. "These 2 are so stupid, having a donkey but not riding it, walking instead." The father and son stood in the middle of the road, not knowing what to do. This story shows that in life, some people care too much about others' opinions, trying to please everyone. But in the end, they find it impossible. Some will understand you, while others won't. Some will trust you, while others will doubt. What matters is not what others say, but how long you let it affect you. If you remember a bad comment for a day, it haunts you for a day. If you remember it for a year, it affects you for a year. This saying is very true. Whoever cares more, loses. Live your own life, and don't let others' opinions take away your inner freedom. A man struggled for half his life to buy a house with a garden. In the garden was a tree. Seeing the tree, a passerby told him, "This tree is not auspicious for the house, you should cut it down." He asked why. The passerby said, "Your yard is square, and with a tree inside, it looks like the character for trouble." He thought this made sense and prepared to cut the tree. At that moment, another passerby said, "You can't cut this tree. If you cut it, the square yard with only a person left looks like the character for begging." He also found this reasonable and was confused, not knowing whether to keep or cut the tree. In the following days, he was very troubled, couldn't eat or sleep. While he was distressed, a Zen master passed by. He told the master his troubles. The master listened and said a few words that immediately enlightened him. The master said, "If you cut the tree, the yard will be filled with sunlight, and you can sunbathe every day. If you don't cut it, that's also good, as you can sit under the tree and enjoy the shade. So, if you want to cut it, if not, don't. Don't worry about what others say." In life, each of us has big and small troubles. But the source of these troubles often comes from caring too much about others' opinions. Like the man in the story, he only cared about others' words and forgot what he truly needed, leading to distress and unease. In reality, everyone has a different perspective, and their opinions will differ. As long as we don't care too much about others' opinions and don't make things hard for ourselves, our hearts will be free from troubles. Number 4. Arrogance. A young man felt very talented but was never recognized, so he always felt miserable. One day, he decided to confront God and asked, "Why is fate so unfair to me?" God listened and said nothing, just picked up a small, unremarkable stone and threw it into a pile of stones. He said, "Find the stone I just threw." The young man searched through the pile but couldn't find it. Then God took off his ring and threw it into the pile. This time, the young man quickly found the shiny golden ring. God said nothing more, but the young man immediately understood. If you are just an ordinary stone, not yet a shining gold, don't complain about fate being unfair. Many people are like this young man, always blaming heaven for being unfair, thinking they are very important and talented. But in reality, it's just an overestimation of oneself. Remember this: when you think you are very important to the world has just begun to forgive your immaturity. Don't overestimate yourself. This is not about underestimating yourself, but about having an objective and correct self-awareness, helping you become more confident, brave in facing challenges, and continuing to pursue the good things in life. The world won't change just because you are missing. An arrogant man always thought he was very important. At a college reunion with dozens of attendees, during mealtime, he hid in the restroom of the next room, hoping everyone would look for him to create a surprise. But the surprise was on him. Everyone was busy enjoying the joyful atmosphere, and when the meal ended, no one noticed his absence. Finally, he couldn't stand it and came out of the restroom with a disappointed face. In real life, we sometimes get lost in the wrong feeling, thinking we are very important. But in others' eyes, you are just an ordinary person. In the vast sea of people, you are just a name, a passerby, or even an unimportant stranger. Don't blindly think you have a big influence on others or a significant impact on society and the world. In fact, without your smile, the world remains beautiful. Sometimes, you are not indispensable, but just think you are very important. Number 5. Inability to keep quiet. Why do people often say that trouble comes from the mouth? A story will help you understand this. A cow, after a tiring day in the field, returned to the barn and said, "Today was exhausting, I need a good rest." This statement was not a problem. But the cat heard it and told the dog, "The master is so unfair, only making the cow work without feeding it grass. The cow doesn't want to work anymore." The dog heard this and told the goat. The cow said it doesn't want to work anymore because it's too tired. In the evening, when the mistress came to feed the goat said, "The cow said the master treats it very badly, making it work without feeding, and if it doesn't do well, it gets beaten, so it plans to quit tomorrow." The mistress heard this and told the master, "The cow doesn't want to work anymore, and if it wants to betray you, what then?" Hearing this, The master immediately took a knife to find the cow. Do you feel the cow in this story is like yourself? The cow from start to finish didn't offend anyone, nor did it say anything wrong, but why did things turn out like this? The reason is that it complained to its colleagues about its work. After being passed around, when it reached the master's ears, the simple complaint had been exaggerated many times. In the workplace, there are no friends, only colleagues, no trust, only interests. Therefore, you must be careful with your words. People who talk too much eventually lose others' respect. A rooster crows every day, but no one pays attention or criticizes it. Only when it stops crowing do people realize it's time to wake up. The more you talk, the less weight your words carry. Smart people only say what's necessary at crucial moments, making others respect them. Talking a lot is not as good as talking right, and unnecessary words are useless. A new fishing pond opened with a fishing fee of 100,000. But people fished all day without catching anything. The owner announced, anyone who doesn't catch a fish will get a free chicken. So everyone went home with a chicken. They thought the owner was very generous. But the security guard revealed that the owner was actually a professional chicken farmer. The pond had no fish. This was just a trick to sell chickens. This story reminds us to keep our mouths shut. If not, those who come to fish later will get nothing. In society, don't lie, but don't tell the whole truth either. For example, don't talk about weight in front of fat people, height in front of short people, or education in front of less educated people. Number 5, pretending to know. A bad personality trait is liking to show off superiority in front of others. This is stupid. There are no fools in this world. Everyone is smart. Truly capable people are usually silent and don't criticize. If you don't like someone or something, instead of trying to clarify, learn to let it go. In a story, someone didn't understand but pretended to know. A man thought ginger grew on trees. Everyone said ginger grows in the ground, but he didn't believe and bet his donkey. After asking 10 people and getting the same answer, he accepted defeat but still insisted ginger grows on trees. We all meet people who don't know but pretend to know. Like Piggy, who loves singing but has no formal training. When watching singing competitions, he always criticizes others for lacking emotion. Meanwhile, the judges said the singer was very emotional but needed to improve their vocal range. Piggy criticized the judges for knowing nothing. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Incompetent people often overestimate themselves. People like to teach others but hate being asked for help. Because when asking for help, you seem inferior, while teaching makes you feel superior. Once, a man from the countryside didn't know how to eat water chestnuts but insisted on eating them with a peel to cool down. When asked if water chestnuts grew in his area, he said they were everywhere. Everyone laughed because water chestnuts actually grow in water. A full bottle is silent, a half bottle sloshes. Knowledgeable people don't speak loudly, while the less knowledgeable like to show off. Incompetent people pretend to know to hide their shortcomings. People often make the mistake of being stubborn, always thinking they are right, unwilling to admit mistakes. This is like the blind man and the elephant, never fully understanding the truth of the world. If you are always right, why are the external results not as expected and internal conflicts abundant? Tagore once said, the easiest thing in the world is to criticize others, and the hardest is to understand oneself. Many people cannot admit mistakes because they dare not face the truth, even deceiving themselves into thinking they are always right. This might be due to unconsciously activating a psychological defense mechanism. During growth, if you made mistakes and were severely punished, the fear of mistakes will gradually deepen in your mind. Even as an adult, you easily ignore objective facts and don't admit your mistakes. Number 7, lack of punishment. When you are wholeheartedly devoted to others, that's when you risk being discarded. Listen to this story. In the past, a family was often disturbed by mice, so they decided to get a cat. The cat was very diligent, catching all the mice in the house in one day. After 3 days, no more mice appeared. The owner thought the cat was no longer useful, Keeping it would only waste food, so they drove it away. A month later, the mice returned. The owner got another cat. This cat was very smart, occasionally catching a few mice, but mostly just meowing to scare them away, then playing. As a result, the owner became dependent on this cat and treated it very well. Why? Because as long as there were mice, this cat had value. This story reminds us that when the birds are gone, the bow is useless. When the rabbits are dead, the hunting dog is abandoned or eaten. When a person loses their usefulness, they are easily discarded or fall into a tragic situation. Do you remember Sima Yi? Did he really not see through Zhuge Liang's empty city strategy? If he suspected an ambush, he could have sent a team to check. Even if he just surrounded the city without attacking, Zhuge Liang would starve to death. So why did Sima Yi decide to retreat? Because he knew that if Zhuge Liang died, no one could oppose the Wei army. And then, Sima Yi would lose his usefulness. Whether in work or relationships, if you want others to always treat you well, never let them see all your cards. Otherwise, you will easily be abandoned. The fish that knows to keep quiet is the hardest to catch. Don't reveal everything to others in a moment of weakness. People who ask about your livelihood are actually assessing your value. Those who bring answers to ask you what they need is not advice but your weaknesses. When you want to confide in someone, remember to keep quiet. With new acquaintances, don't be too enthusiastic. The more enthusiastic you are, the more they look down on you. People treat you a little better, and you pour out your heart. You think it's sincerity, but it's actually loneliness. You don't realize that the weaknesses you share today might become a knife stabbed back at you in the future. Once others feel you have no value, they turn on you faster than flipping a page. When you have no rice, you can't call the chickens. Remember, people who don't understand you won't harm you. Keep your distance, maintain mystery, speak less but create awe. Indecisive people find it hard to stand firm. To succeed, have compassion in your heart and sharpness in your hands. 2 wolves entered the prairie. One felt disappointed for not seeing meat. The other was excited, knowing where there is grass, there are sheep. This is the difference between vision and perspective. Everyone has eyes, but not everyone has foresight. Life is a journey of continuous training. Looking at problems from different angles brings different results. Eyes only see the present, but vision helps you see the future. Imagine, in front of a monkey is a banana and a gold bar. The monkey will choose the banana because it doesn't know the gold bar can be exchanged for countless bananas. Similarly, if in front of you is a gold bar and a learning opportunity, most people will choose the gold, not knowing the learning opportunity can bring countless gold bars. When your talent is not enough to meet your ambitions, quietly learn. When your ability is not enough to control your goals, patiently train. Your whole life, you will pay for your awareness. Every dollar you earn reflects your understanding of the world. Every dollar you lose is due to a lack of understanding. You can't earn money beyond your understanding unless you rely on luck. But money earned by luck is often lost due to ignorance. This is inevitable. The fairest thing in society is that if your awareness and wealth don't match, society will find hundreds of ways to take that wealth until they balance. The future is not people finding money, but money finding people. Wealth always flows to those who suit it. People with high awareness understand this. Someone asked a beggar, if one day you win the lottery and get a lot of money, what will you do? The beggar laughed and said, I will definitely replace my begging bowl with a golden one. Don't laugh at him because in his world, this is the best he can imagine when becoming rich. This is called awareness. Awareness determines your imagination. To improve awareness, I think we need to start from a few aspects. First, open your heart. Don't stubbornly hold on to what belongs to you but be willing to accept information from the outside world. Second, read more. Reading helps you compare and contrast different viewpoints. Third, travel more. Learn more about the real world, experience different cultures. Only by doing these can your awareness improve, and your vision become broader. Then, You can plan your life more completely and achieve greater success. This is a true story. On an ordinary Thursday afternoon in 1992, at a humble school, everyone was excited by the appearance of a big figure, Bill Gates. He came to visit the students here. Before leaving, Bill Gates said that on some Thursday afternoon, he might return to visit them. If he saw whose desk was the neatest, that person would get a free personal computer. Hearing this, the students were very excited because at that time, computers were both expensive and rare. Everyone dreamed of receiving this prize. So after Bill Gates left, every Thursday afternoon, all students voluntarily cleaned and organized their desks. But on other days, most of them didn't want to do so. Only one senior student thought, Bill Gates said Thursday afternoon, but he was so busy. Who knows if he will come in the morning? So every Thursday morning, he started cleaning his desk. Then he thought, who knows, maybe he will come on another day of the week. If the desk is not tidy, then wouldn't all the previous efforts be in vain? So he decided to always keep his desk neat and clean at all times. Unfortunately, by the time he graduated, Bill Gates still hadn't returned. The other students had forgotten about cleaning their desks, but this student had developed the habit of keeping things tidy. He also learned that whatever he did, he had to be organized and persistent. This habit paid off big time for him. Many years later, he finally met Bill Gates again, but this time it wasn't to receive a computer. Instead, Bill Gates spent $2.4 billion to buy back 1.6% of his company. And yes, that company was Facebook, the world's first social networking platform, and that student was Mark Zuckerberg. Habits are the real leaders in each person's thinking and actions. Good habits formed from a young age will affect your whole life. Being persistent with good habits means you have set foot on the train of success. How does a person get ruined? That is when they only talk but do not do. Pretend to make an effort, forever immersed in illusions, becoming loud in words, but weak in actions. Only when you start doing, you will achieve results. Talking is useless. A writer once said, when my daughter grows up, I will definitely tell her that if a man shows his concern by telling her to be careful when she comes home from work, telling her jokes when she is sick, praising her for doing housework, or telling her to drink more water when she is happy or sad, then that man is not worthy of her life. There is a saying that goes, from ignorance to knowledge comes from learning. From knowledge to understanding comes from action.